Jed Spence has been offered to Manchester United as he considers leaving Tottenham this summer. His representatives have also offered him to Liverpool, with Spence seeking regular first-team football. Tottenham value the player at around £35 million, although United have not yet decided whether to pursue a move. This is the story sitting at the center of this window right now, and it connects directly to a squad rebuild that is happening faster than most fans realize. Right now, inside Carrington, a squad is being rebuilt in real time. Benjamin Šeško has missed another preseason match. Matías Cunha is out ill. Senna Lemons is unavailable. Carl Darlow is unavailable. That is 4 senior players missing before a serious test against the Champions League winning side, and it is happening with the transfer window still very much alive. Manchester United traveled to Gothenburg, Sweden with a 22-player squad to face Paris Saint-Germain, the back-to-back Champions League winners. Before going further into how this is playing out, if you want the full picture on Manchester United's transfer business broken down calmly and without the exaggeration you get elsewhere, that is exactly what Final Whiz does. Hit subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments who you think United should sign at left back this window. It genuinely helps this channel keep bringing you this kind of detailed breakdown. There's a 68% chance of Marcus Rashford staying at Manchester United after his loan spell at Barcelona. He is coming off a season with 2 trophies, a World Cup bronze medal, and 15 goals plus 12 assists. This is a market-based probability, not a confirmed transfer decision, and it should be treated as a signal of sentiment rather than a done deal. What is not in question is Rashford's actual output on that loan. 2 trophies, 1 World Cup bronze, and 15 goals with 12 assists across the season. Manchester United are ready to pay Jorge Sosa's €116 million release clause. Barcelona remain interested in the Racing Santander left back, but are unwilling to meet the asking price. United see the 19-year-old as a leading alternative after difficulties pursuing Lewis Hall. That phrase, leading alternative, tells you this is not United's first choice. It is an option that has become live specifically because of difficulties elsewhere in the market. Marcus Rashford is scheduled to travel to Dublin on Sunday for Manchester United's pre-season training camp after completing his mandatory 3-week post-World Cup break. Kabi Manu and Lisandro Martinez are also expected to report this weekend. This is confirmed logistics, not speculation, and it tells us Rashford is currently still a Manchester United player, training with the squad, regardless of what betting markets say about his long-term future. FIFA will cover around 80% of Manuel Ugarte's £150,000 a week wages while he is sidelined through the governing body's club protection program. A club carrying a long-term injury to a key midfielder usually absorbs that wage cost entirely on its own books. This is real financial relief for a club also trying to fund incoming transfers this summer. Benjamin Šeško is still on track to be fit for the start of the season. The striker has been stepping up his rehabilitation at Carrington. Given United's lack of forward depth, this is arguably the most important update of the entire window from a footballing perspective, because every positive sign about his recovery reduces the pressure to sign a striker before deadline day. Newcastle United have told Manchester United that Lewis Hall is not for sale at any price this summer. United have tracked the left back for some time, but Newcastle consider the matter settled after rejecting their interest. United might now turn to Jorge Sosa or John Lukumi as alternative defensive targets. This is the clearest, most direct confirmation in the entire window of a target being closed off, and it explains why the Sosa interest suddenly makes far more sense. Manchester United are in the race to sign Paris Saint-Germain forward Ibrahim Mbaye. PSG are willing to sell for the right price, but the 18-year-old has not made a decision yet. No fee is mentioned, no timeline is mentioned, and the player himself has not decided anything, so this remains a name to watch rather than a deal to expect imminently. Jamie Carragher has said Manchester United have changed their transfer strategy in a healthy way. He noted that for years, signings appeared to be made to keep fans excited rather than because they were the right fit, and that the club is now bringing in players who suit what the manager wants and fit the system, which he described as how successful teams recruit. a 19-year-old left back on a release clause, an 18-year-old forward yet to decide, and a defender pursued specifically after a bigger name was rejected. None of these are the marquee, headline-grabbing signings United has chased in recent years. The club have explored deals for left-sided forwards and strikers, but if Rashford, who can play in both positions, has to stay, there is little need to bring in someone else. This connects everything back to the center of the window. If Rashford stays, an entire recruitment need disappears. If he leaves, that need reopens immediately. Here's the situation on Endrick. His representatives at Rock Nation are working on securing a loan move to the Premier League for the Real Madrid striker. Real Madrid are understood to be in agreement that the 20-year-old would benefit from a loan, and that agreement has become easier to reach after Real Madrid completed a £120 million deal to sign Ivory Coast winger Yan Diomande from RB Leipzig. When a club spends that kind of money on a direct competitor for playing time, it tells you where the younger player sits in the pecking order. Manchester United's actual need is not about the name Endrick specifically. It's about game-time reliability. Šeško remains their only fully fit senior striker option, and while his rehabilitation is on track, missing another preseason fixture is still missing another preseason fixture. Joshua Zirkzee is not shown enough end product since arriving in 2024 to be trusted as a genuine backup, and there are separate reports linking him to a move to Juventus. If that exit happens, United would be extremely short at the position heading into a season with both Premier League and Champions League football. Endrick's own recent form supports the idea that he could genuinely help. In the second half of last season on loan at Lyon, he scored 8 goals in 21 appearances across all competitions. That form was strong enough to earn him a place in Brazil's World Cup squad this year, although he played a secondary role behind Matheus Cunha throughout the tournament. Having returned to preseason training at Real Madrid, it is not yet clear whether he fits into the plans of manager Xabi Alonso, but the signals from his own camp suggest a move is genuinely being considered. A loan would let Real Madrid retain long-term control over a player they still see potential in, while giving Endrick the regular football he is not guaranteed at the Bernabeu. For Manchester United, a loan would provide low-risk cover at a genuine area of need without committing significant long-term funds at a time when the budget is already stretched across other positions. This remains a reported situation driven by the player's representatives, not a confirmed transfer, and it should be treated with appropriate caution. United's trip to Gothenburg, Sweden to face Paris Saint-Germain is the most significant test of their preseason so far. PSG are the back-to-back Champions League winners, and a positive result just 14 days before the Premier League campaign begins would represent a real statement of intent under Michael Carrick. Working in United's favor is the fact that PSG themselves lost their opening preseason friendly to Marca earlier in the week, which makes United favorites on paper. However, the squad traveling is missing 4 senior names: Cunha, Lemons, Darlow, and Šeško, all absent due to injury or illness. Looking at the strongest available side, Tom Heaton is set to start in goal, playing his second 90 minutes in a week. At right back, Diogo Dalot returns, as Lenny Yoro had been deployed there throughout the summer, with Yoro shifting into central defense alongside Aiden Heaven, whose performances this summer have been consistently strong. At left back, Luke Shaw is expected to start ahead of Harry Amos. In midfield, Mason Mount is expected to start, with new signing Yuri Telemans in line to make his debut off the bench, while Andre Onana adjacent midfield depth around Bruno Fernandes, returning as captain in the number 10 role, lifts the overall level of the side. On the left, with both Cunha and Rashford unavailable, Patrick Dorgu is in line to start. Leading the line, Brian Mbeumo is the clear option, having scored twice in the previous friendly against Atletico Madrid. Now to the headline story. Gary Neville, a former Manchester United captain, gave a strongly positive assessment of Jed Spence's performances for England during this year's World Cup. Neville said Spence plays with real tenacity and aggression in his defensive work, comparing his instincts to a relentless close marking presence, and specifically praised his ability to operate effectively at both right back and left back. Neville also highlighted a strong forward contribution from Spence during the tournament, in a moment where he very nearly scored after coming on as a substitute, suggesting tactical adjustments at the back could well be coming to whichever side eventually signs him. Given that Neville is a former Manchester United captain with deep ties to the club's culture, an endorsement like this carries real weight in how this rumor should be read. It doesn't confirm a transfer, but it tells you that Spence's profile, versatility, and mentality are exactly the former United figure's respect. That said, there is currently nothing to suggest the club views Spence as an alternative to their primary left-back target. United's main focus at left-back throughout this window has been Newcastle's Lewis Hall, and that pursuit has become significantly more complicated now that Newcastle are reportedly on the verge of losing Bruno Guimaraes to Arsenal, a separate deal entirely, but one that could harden Newcastle's resolve to keep hold of their key